Hello and welcome everybody to a slightly different video. I only just realized that you could actually annotate things in Microsoft Photos. So what we're going to be doing today is going back through my recent LEGO Harry Potter Years 1 through 4 all bonus levels sub 3 run. This run came out to be like 259.96, I think. Fifth person ever to achieve sub 3 and the fourth person to do it in the last 2 weeks. The category's booming at the moment, which is quite cool. But yeah, we're just gonna go over and like annotate. I'll try and explain absolutely everything about this run. It's gonna go way too in depth because I'm gonna be talking about things which will be relevant to people who've never seen the category before, things which are relevant to people who have, done runs of the category, whatever. Uh, yeah, but let's go into it. I mean, we start off nice and simple. Time starts when we select the brick. That's pretty standard. And then what we have here straight away is we have probably one of the most technical levels. So we start off, and we're going to start off. We want to get to this point about here. So then we can Lumos jump, which is another technique where you activate the Lumos spell, and then you switch off the Lumos spell, and you have a brief period of time where you can jump twice. And we're going to jump up to this torch bracket here. And then from there, over the gate. And then from the gate, we're going to come up to this point here. So that way. And that again is another Lumos jump. And that's just to get over the first part of the room. So instantly, it's incredibly technical. Also from where we start, about here, the line we have to take to get to the Lumos jump point is quite precise. So you can see Harry's already in the motion of going up onto the cauldron. And then from there, we're going to jump again to there. You can go round this way, or you can go around this way, but it's a lot slower. This way is a lot more direct. So if we go forwards now, I'm going to get to this point. Let's get rid of that. That was a lot of drawing. So I'll get to this point, and I haven't activated Lumos yet, because you don't want to activate it straight away. You want to spend as little time with the spell active as possible, because it really slows down your character. So at the last second, I then activate it, and I'm going to jump. Another technical thing, though, where I'm looking at time save in this level compared to my PB, because you can see there's a big time save I can have here. What I'm actually looking for here is how quickly I can get onto this and then off this kind of torch area. So I'm actually going to land probably around here near the front. You can land kind of this area here, but it's much harder to get the jump over to the other side. So you're going to see me do that now. So I jump near side, so it's very near side, and then I can get over almost straight away. That's a sign already that the run's going pretty good. I'm going to try the same thing here. So you can see instantly I got to jump off this part here. It's very easy to get stuck on that part. But actually being able to get the jump over immediately saves heaps of time. And then we go on to the second part of this level, which doesn't get any easier, because I'm going to use this broom here. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to tap Y to get on the broom, and then I'm going to be holding the A button. And holding the A button will actually give me more height than you can normally get from just holding A. You get more lift than you normally would by doing it immediately. And by doing that, I'm going to make my way over to the torch bracket on the far end there. So we can see that. So get on here, go up, and you can see I'm well above the torch bracket now. So once I get to about this point, I'm actually going to start tapping A again. And once you're at max height, tapping A lowers your height down. So I'm actually going to lower my height because what we're going to do is we're going to do, I have no idea what this is called, like a torch fly something. But basically, the game's going to think that the torch is my new ground, and that's going to give me height, and I'm going to go over, and I'm going to try and get over the wall around this area here. But you have to be really close to the bottom of the torch there, so I could fly straight up to the wall now, and then just press A to let myself drop down. But if I want to save the time that I need to be as low as possible, trying to, when I get to the torch, so that I can then go up immediately. So if we see that, I actually go down quite late in this run, but you can see immediately just shot straight up and over the wall. And then we use that to skip the age line, which is this thing here, and then we can finish the level immediately. So that's a very technical first level. You can see I saved 0.7 out of a possible 0.8 there, so that's really good. Now we go on to this level. This level's a lot easier. Once you're in the level itself, I'd say it's almost like a muscle memory type of auto-scroller. It's not the most challenging level once you're inside it. But actually, where I save and lose the time, you can see I lost 0.4 in PB. Where I lose the time is right here. So collecting the brick here, and the line I take going this way to collect the brick to start the level is one of the most challenging things in the level. And how quickly you pick it up. You can lose or save a lot of time here. So you see in this run, did it relatively well, not too bad. And then we have the pet warp here. So pet warp, I immediately, as I spawn in the level, player 1 switches to Wingardium Leviosa, player 2 switches to a pet. And player 2 will activate the pet, put the pet down, while player 1 is targeting them with Wingardium Leviosa. What that does is that warps the pet to 0-0 in the level. And 0-0 in the level happens to be right by the gold brick. So you see it. The camera's moving up. That's because the pet is now, I'd say, about here. Well, rather than starting back down there. And then the next thing, the other tiny optimization in this level, is with the pet, I'm going to be jumping to hit the gold brick. That's because the pet's got to go up a slope. And going up slopes is slow. I think it might even be stairs. Going up stairs is slow. You just want to try and jump up them as much as you can. So you're going to see, I'm going to move over there, jump, and then we've completed the level. Much quicker level. We saved 0.1 there. Not too bad. But now we get into the most technical level in the game. You can see my route to collect wasn't as good there. But yeah, this is the most technical part of the run. So trying to explain this will be quite difficult. The first thing we've got to do is get a Lumos jump. We've got to get up to a platform which is about here, I want to say. And you can see I'm moving player 2 here. I'm going to keep player 1 dropped in through this entire level, but we're actually not going to use player 1 at all. Because instead what we're going to do with player 2 is we're going to use this tree to be able to jump up. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to do it in 3 jumps. So player 2's first going to jump up to about here, then immediately jump up to about here, and then the goal is to get the 3rd jump to be onto the tree itself. I don't think we quite make it in this run. I mean, there's multiple ways to do this. You can take it nice and slow, walk around the back and jump on. That's not too bad. Or if you immediately jump from there, you can land on the tree straight away, but it's really difficult. Or a lot more challenging anyway. So I think I take it quite careful in this run. I can't remember. So 1, 2, yeah, so we jump around the back there. And then you can see on the top of the tree, activating Lumos, we're going to Lumos jump around the side up to this area where the silver studs are. And there we go, that was pretty clean. We've now got to prepare for what is the biggest reset point in the run. So you see I've already switched back to Lumos. That's because we've got to get from here over to the far side here. And this is an incredibly technical jump because this area here is very difficult to actually get a Lumos jump off. You have to Lumos jump this to get the right distance, but it's a very tight area to get the jump across. What I find a lot easier is the further I am kind of this way on the platform, the better it is. So I think if I remember correctly, I moved myself basically all the way to the edge to be able to get the jump across. So okay, I don't in this one. I actually take it from the middle, but you can see where I jump from, I'm basically kind of in line about there when I jump. If I go any further beyond that line, you don't get the Lumos jump off, you just get a single jump and then you can't make it. But this is just enough, and you can see we make it by literally just pixels. Very close to missing it. And then, just to top it all off, we have a nice fighter jump, which used to be the hardest part of the run, but I'm relatively consistent at it. I'd say I'm like 50-50 at it now. But what we've got to do is we've got to get an edge jump off here. So every time I'm getting an edge jump, I'm running slightly off the edge. And as you go off the edge, there's a few frames where you're able to get a jump off before you're then jump is disabled. So I get one edge jump to go from about here to near the middle of this platform, and then another one to do the same on that one, and then another one onto the tree, and then another one from the tree just to the edge there. It's an incredibly technical trick, especially landing on the tree itself. Landing on the tree itself is one of the most difficult things because it's a very small area you have to hit. Also, these platforms move. They aren't clipped in. So what you can find is if you don't edge jump here, you can still make it onto this platform, but then this platform will be pushed off. And it becomes a lot harder because then more than likely you'll do the same to this platform, and then it's really difficult to get the tree jump. But I think for this one, they both stay in place. So I'm able to get the edge jump onto the tree and then over. And that's like the hardest trick in the run. At this point, I'm thinking we've got a run gone. But there is one thing here. So this Lumos jump, I'm jumping from here up to about there. That's not too bad. Oh, wrong button. That's not too bad. Probably the next thing for me to learn is actually there's a jump you can do. I think it's from about here. And you go this side. And then could go straight over to the gold brick. But that is much more precise to get. You'll see I struggle with this one. So you could see I was barely on the edge there. I think I got an edge jump facing the wrong way to be able to get over. So I was very close to missing it. But that is the most technical level in the game done. That's my big reset point done. You see we lost 0.7. That's not too bad. Could have been a lot worse. And then we go into level 7, which is what all the other sub 3 runners, they do a completely different strategy here. So what they do is they bring Harry over this way and then come back to this button. But by going over there, what they do is they activate this Dementor to go and press this button. It's a really inconsistent, tough, precise trick to be able to get. I find it really difficult to be able to manage it. But all the other top runners have done it. I haven't been able to yet, or at least not consistently. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore P1 for the start, and I'm going to move player 2. Player 2 is going to Lumos jump up to here, and then come round and jump down this way to get to the button. So you can see how much longer it is to get player 2 up here than it is to get the Dementor all the way over to here. And then what that does is that activates the gate, and this is the important thing you need to hit for this level. So yeah, I'm taking a time loss here intentionally. I'd say for most top players, this strat with the Dementor is like 1 in 5 maybe. But I've decided I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ignore the 1 in 5 chance of saving time. It's a 1.3 second save, I think, my gold compared to the strat I do this run. It's 1.3 seconds optimally. So instead of going for that, I'm not taking the 1 in 5 save, but I'm kind of using the ability to get runs through and hoping that I'll learn to save time in the later levels just by playing them more and more. And I think that works rather than having like one run that gets beyond 7 every session, so every 50 to 100 attempts. I think I just checked and I was getting one run through every 15 minutes, which is like one run every 10 attempts or something. Maybe a bit more, maybe like 20 attempts, 25 attempts, but that's so much better. Because it means you just work on improving the later levels and find time save in the later levels that you wouldn't normally. But anyway, so we're going to see here, once the camera pan ends, get this Lumos jump up here. It can kind of cut this corner a bit and that corner. And then player 1 moves on to the button, player 2 does the same. And actually this positioning here is quite important. Player 1 obviously has to get this thing. What this does is it lowers the lava level. But player 1 is standing on this wall here. And the importance of that, it's a small thing, but he now can't get hit by the Dementor because the hitbox registry isn't quite there. Which means, like, I'm not going to lose time to the Dementor, and by staying up there, I then have a direct line of sight to jump to the gold brick, which is about there. So you'll see me do that now. and that was a very nice jump. Harry somehow warped into the floor. I'm not sure how. I don't question the game sometimes. But yeah, so I'd say those are like the 4 choke points in the run. Now things get a little bit easier. So 6, you can see the brick is right there. Literally all we do, jump up, Lumos jump up to there, and then go over. It's not at all a difficult level, but there are ways you can optimize it. Initially, and probably the easiest way, is to activate Lumos about here, and then jump up to this side, and then you can Lumos jump there. That's probably the easiest way of doing it, and that's what I used to do quite a lot. But now, the best way to do it is to jump onto here, then activate Lumos. So you're activating it about there, and then you kind of have to jump and spin around to be able to hit that, because otherwise you hit your head on the ceiling there. So you have to Lumos jump and spin around. So it's a more complex Lumos jump, but it saves probably like 0.3 something doing it, because you're spending less time with Lumos activated. So you see me do it here. I activate it. I actually get a second jump here. You don't want that second jump up here usually. Normally you just want the jump there, and that's enough to get you over. So I lost a bit of time on that, but I don't think it was too much in the grand scheme of things. I was even with PB, so it's not too bad. We then go on to this level. This level is probably my favorite. I like this one. It's just platforming with Lumos jumps. So you see me Lumos jump up there, Lumos jump onto the outer bounds, and actually this line here, if I go back a little bit, this line here is quite important. So obviously what you can do is just go along the grass here to get to the end, but actually by jumping down here and then Lumos jumping back up, you get yourself on a better line, saves a tiny bit of time, and also you're not having to battle with all this uphill, which can be a bit of a nightmare to space out your jumps. So instead you just do a quick Lumos jump and then hit the gold brick. So it's just tiny optimization. Although somehow I lost 0.2 there. That could just be like how quickly I grabbed the brick at the start or something. It could be anything. And then 4's another pet warp. The pet warp itself is nice and simple, apart from the fact it's going the other direction. A little bit up here though, so you always want to jump from about this point here. Or, well, you can jump, or you could just go along the top here. But actually by jumping, you cut out a little bit of the corner, and you can get yourself coming down towards the brick with more speed. The brick's about there. Yes, you could get yourself coming down with more speed, because if you're falling from a flat object, you've got time to accelerate, whereas if you're already accelerating because you've jumped, then you can get a bit more speed. This actually goes wrong in this run. I'm not sure if I lose any time for it, but it goes wrong. Because you see, I just caught the lip of the edge about there. That doesn't lose too much time, it just resets my full speed a little bit, which is a bit annoying. And then I grabbed a brick. It probably only saves like half a tenth, maybe, if that. But apparently I lost 0.0 in that split, but I'm not sure about that. And now we're in what I'd call a late game run. So 3, 2, and 1. 3 and 2 specifically are big choke points for runs. So 3 is quite technical. I'm keeping player 2 dropped in. You notice I haven't used player 2, or the only time I've used player 2 since 7 is for the pet warp. But I'm keeping him dropped in because it loses a second to drop him out. But then yeah, Lumos jump over the gate. That's not too bad of a Lumos jump, especially if you start from the kind of button there. It makes it a lot easier. But then over the gate, and then we go onto the platform here. Again, this platform's not clipped in, so I have to land in the center here. And then basically you've got to pray that this platform clips in quickly. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I think it clips in relatively quick this time. Yep. And you see, instead of taking a Lumos jump there, you can actually just single jump. And then I'll Lumos jump over to this platform, and then single jump again. What's interesting here is you can actually go from this platform all the way to the end, but it is probably pixel precise. So it's not something I'm interested in going for just yet. There's a lot of other optimizations I can do before I then go pixel precise. But we're going to get this jump up here and then grab the gold brick. And we saved like a second in that level. I think I dropped out in PB, which explains the second difference. And then we go into 2, and 2 is my least favorite level. I'm so bad at choking this level, and I do have a minor choke here actually. See what happened right there? Harry has started to put his wand away. And Harry putting his wand away is really bad because it means he's stationary for about a second. So I lose about a second there. How do you avoid it? Ideally, by just doing something. So either I could have switched spell one more time, or if I'm jumping, he can't put his wand away. So if I was buffer jumping, where you release and hold B before you land again to get a frame perfect jump, if I'd just been jumping all the way to where I needed to be, Harry wouldn't have put his wand away. So that's a little bit of a misplay on my part. But you'll see I'll go again, and the route for this level, Lou must jump up to there, and then got to go all the way along the edge, and then from here it's a jump to that platform. It's an edge jump. This is quite a tough level actually. I mean, I don't like it fundamentally, but you see I'll get to the edge here. I actually land on the right spot, so you have to land like on this one piece here. If you land kind of in this middle area about there, you have to do another jump to be able to get yourself onto the one piece spot, which obviously loses a lot of time. So I land on that one piece, and then it's a straightforward edge jump to the brick. And basically at this point I was like, okay, this is a big shot at sub 3. I get an insane level entry into 1 actually. And this level is something a bit different. So you've got to collect, as it says, 100,000 studs and be at the gate, which is probably about here-ish. But you're allowed stud multipliers. So you can see the whole time I've had this times 60 activated here. So that means I have the 6 stud multiplier and the 10 stud multiplier activated, which combines to give you times 60. And that allows me to get the 100,000 studs basically on a direct beeline for the end. I don't use stud magnet in this run. You can also use stud magnet to bring further away studs closer to you, but that actually messes up the timing a bit. You want the timing to be incredibly precise with how close you get to the end. So if we see it here, basically you can see studs are racking up. I'm going to get 100k now, and then I immediately leave the bus, and the moment I get to the gate, this cutscene starts where you wouldn't be able to move anyway, and there we can finish the level. I think I retimed this to a 259.96, so it was just about the sub 3. But yeah, that is a big word dump of all the stuff in 1 through 4, all bonus levels. So thank you very much for watching, everyone, and see you in the next one.